Welcome to this week's story time. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to give some shout outs to my friends who have joined me. This week is all about friends. A lot of our stories have to do with friends. And you'll see at the end, we will be writing a letter to one of our friends. So I want to say hi to my friends that have joined. Hi, Avery. Thanks for coming back. Bria, thanks for joining us. Mackenzie, Elliot, Gagan, thanks for coming. As you can see behind me, I do have some creatures here joining me as well. I have a bird here and a squirrel. We have a snail. We have a caterpillar. And we have an owl here. These are all friends that are joining me because our stories this week will have to do with trees and will take place in a forest or the woods. And like always, I will need your help to tell our stories. We will be acting like different animals. So if we're acting like tigers who are ice skating, you'll need to pretend that you are covered in stripes, have claws, and that you're really awesome on the ice. If we are elephants that are surfing, well, you'll need to pretend that you have a long trunk, that you have big gray ears, and that you love being out on the water. So for our first story, we are going to be rabbits. And as you can see, I have a bow tie on. Because unlike the rabbits that we see around us, these bunnies are very well dressed. So please pretend that you have some very fancy shoes on. Okay? And also pretend that your ears, instead of being on the side of your head, are now on top. And you have very good hearing. You also have whiskers. And actually, bunnies don't really sit like this, right? So make sure that you're you could be perched like this. Or maybe if you're sitting, you're kind of down like this with your knees in front of you, right? And be careful, don't sit on your white tail. So our first story has to do with a little rabbit named Benjamin. And at the beginning of this story, he's sitting against a tree. Oh, and rabbits are, well, they're only this tall, right? Which makes everything else seem much, much bigger. So you're sitting up against this 1,000-foot-high tree, or that's what it looks like to a bunny, and you're listening. You hear, off in the distance, a horse clopping. And that horse is the horse of Mr. McGregor. Now, Mr. McGregor is mean. He's not really mean, but he's mean to a bunny. As bunnies, we like to eat, well, carrots and lettuce and onions and anything that tastes good. And Mr. McGregor keeps us out of his garden. So we're listening to this horse, which means Mr. McGregor is leaving. So slowly, you hop. So can you, like Benjamin, hop? So you're going to go on your feet like this and just on the same tree that you were sitting on the other side, you come across another bunny. And you see he is laying on the ground. So could you lay on the ground? And all that you have on you is a blanket. You're looking at this bunny from above. You say, and you know this bunny. It's your cousin Peter, Peter Rabbit. And you say, Peter, what are you doing down there? And can you be a very sad bunny? And you might be cold as well. Mr. McGregor took my clothes. I was trying to escape under the gate. The clothes got stuck. Well, now Benjamin had many great ideas. He said, but Peter, Mr. McGregor has gone. I heard his horse. Let's go and let's take back your clothes. Okay, now, as bunnies, I need you to crouch very low. And you're at the top of a hill and you're looking down into the garden. Now, bunnies have very good hearing. And with their whiskers, they can feel the wind. But they're looking and their eyesight's not that great. They're looking and they see, is that a man wearing your clothes, Peter? He's not moving. I don't see any hands on that man. I don't see any feet. They were, in fact, looking at a scarecrow. Mr. McGregor had put Peter's jacket on the scarecrow to frighten away birds. And in this case, bunnies too. Because remember, they were scared. They were looking down. And should we get the clothes back? Peter, he's only wearing a blanket. I think we got to get his clothes. He hasn't been home because he's scared. You can't show up back to your house and not have any clothes on. They hop back, they hop down. So we're hopping. Then your tail's flowing. Now, did you ever get distracted? Did maybe you had something you had to do, maybe for school, or maybe you had some chore to do, and you just can't finish that chore or that schoolwork because maybe you smell something that smells delicious, or you hear something, or you think of something. Oh, I should go do this. That's what happened to these rabbits. They were hopping along, and now they were in the garden. And to us, a piece of lettuce looks, well, it kind of fits in our hand. But to a rabbit, it's bigger than they are. So can you imagine seeing vegetables that are bigger than you? The lettuce was taller than Benjamin. And he thought, oh, I only want a little bit of this lettuce. So can you nibble lettuce that is next to your face? That's how tall it is. Next, they smelled carrots. Now you know the bunnies like carrots. First, they had to pull up this carrot. They have their little rabbit paws, and together they work. At the top of a carrot is very green. They, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. This carrot was as long as their legs. Can you imagine a carrot stick being longer than your leg? Well, sorry, Peter, I need to eat this. We'll get your clothes in a second. And you should be eating this carrot. It's wonderful. Oh, Benjamin thinks, what else is around here that we could get? Onions. Onions.
My goodness, onions. I would love to eat a nice onion here. Let's take some home. Peter, your aunt loves onions. Let's take some onions home with her. For her. And just then, they had peered around a corner. They heard something. What was that? Remember, their hearing is exceptional. Smells like cat. Now this cat is so much bigger than these rabbits. Avanish the cat is here. Quick, run and hide. Where can we hide? We can't hide among the lettuce. We ate it all. Can we hide in the hole in the ground? No, the cat will find us. Fortunately, there were flower pots around them and baskets. They quickly hid under a basket. Now, how small can you make yourself? Can you squeeze into a basket underneath? Try not to make any noise. Now, Avanish, the cat, had climbed on top of the basket. Underneath, Peter, who still didn't get his clothes back, and Benjamin were frozen. Now, if you were quick, maybe you were under the basket like this on your side. But if you weren't quick, maybe you were down like this on your face. Or maybe you were under the basket like this. But you had to freeze. The first hour wasn't so bad. The second hour started to get a little warm. The third hour, your feet started to cramp up and started to get sore. And you had an itch on your tail and you couldn't itch it. Avanish, oh. After 5 hours, the cat was still there and it was getting late. Now these rabbits had eaten some lettuce, they had eaten carrots, but they hadn't eaten the onion. The whole basket smelled like onion. And they wanted their dinner. They wanted some other food. Oh, would this cat ever leave?
Jessie! Jessie? Dinner! Come on, Jessie.
No cat. Jessie Avanish the cat had left. Push the basket off with your feet. Slowly roll over. Crawl out. Peter said, I need to get my clothes now. It's been 2 days without my clothes. They scurried over on the tall scarecrow. They grabbed his jacket. It was very tight, very small. It had shrunk with the rain. They grabbed his shoes, put them on his big rabbit feet. They heard the horse. They knew they needed to escape quick. They grabbed the onions. They made it back to the tree, where the friendly squirrel just looked up at them and said, "Ah, you rascally rabbits, won't you ever learn?" And that's the end of our first story. So great job being bunnies and being rabbits. And
good job being a cat. Now, for our next story, if you have it, we need a big pot and a wooden spoon if you have it. If not, that's okay, because we're just going to pretend. We're going to use our imagination. Okay? This next story is called Stone Soup. And we do have a question for you. The question we have is, what kind of creatures live up in trees? What kind of creatures live up in trees? All of our animals from this story will be tree-living animals, except for one of the smartest and wisest animals of all, an elephant. So, if we're going to be elephants, I don't know about you, I've never seen an elephant sit crisscross applesauce, so we need to make some changes in our life right now. First, we need to imagine that our feet and our arms are heavy. And our hands are round. And our feet, instead of being long and skinny, are round. And we need to, if you want to be on your knees, that works, right? If you want to be up like this, that works as well. And I need you to imagine that your ears have now grown very big, and that you now have a long trunk, a long nose here, and it sounds kind of like a trumpet. So let's hear your trumpet elephant sound. You're walking along, and there's 3 of you. Boom, 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 boom. And you know that elephants like anything they can get in a tree. They like bananas, and they like any leaves, and they like anything sweet, like fruit, even honey. Elephants will go for honey as well. And they had walked through the desert for many a day, and they were hot. Now, how can you show that you're hot? You're panting. Your elephant tongue is out of your mouth. You may even be sweaty, so with your trunk, can you dab your forehead? And you come across a very tall forest, very tall trees. And you may even spot an animal every now and then that looks down, sees you, and then hides. In these woods, the animals were very suspicious of each other. That means they did not trust each other. They didn't even come out and say hello to one another. They didn't have any more conversations with each other, at least. They were scared to get too close. Looking around and not seeing any food, no bananas, no leaves that they could reach, not even a little bit of honey, these elephants decided to get loud. So how loud can you be with your trunk? Stone soup. We're going to need a squirrel in this story, right? A monkey has appeared, right? Stone soup. Oh. Birds looking down. They've never heard of stone soup. They were interested. They were curious. They looked down. These elephants said, "That's the biggest pot you've ever seen." So if you have a pot, now's the time. If not, roll in the biggest pot that you have and put it right in the center here. You'll also need something to stir with. If you have a wooden spoon, that works. Or if you have a stick or a branch. And if you don't have any of those, that's okay too. You can use your trunk to stir.
Okay, so you can... Now, the elephants made another claim. This soup will feed all of you. What? How could all of us drink from this together? What? These elephants knew the secret to what makes an animal happy. And hopefully by the end of the story, we will know that too. So they went to the local waterfall, and with our trunks here, we're going to need these to be almost like a vacuum. We're going to have to suck up the water, and we're going to have to bring it over here to our soup pot. So with your trunk here, we're going to pull up some water here. Almost like a hose. Next up, they called up and they said, "Oh, this could be tasty if we have any bananas." Well, you know what type of creature eats bananas, right? The monkey. So in this case, we'll need to be monkeys here. Monkeys live over here, so let's shimmy our way over here. And monkeys. Now, monkeys don't really walk like this, right? We need you to perch up like a monkey here, right? 1, 2, 3.
Did someone say banana? I might have a banana or two for the stone soup. Oh, let me see. Oh, but you say stones. I don't see no stones in there. Where are these stones that you speak of?
We almost forgot. The stones. 3 elephants, 1 stone each. Now, looking around you here, the first elephant here, Mackenzie, the elephant, grabbed a brown stone here with her trunk, and just like a vacuum, right? She brought it over. Plink. Now, elephant number 2, Elliot, the elephant here, grabbed a nice green stone here with his trunk. He dropped it in. Plank. And we also had Avery, the elephant here, grabbed a nice yellow stone. Blink. Now there were 3 stones in here. Yes. And back to the monkey, of course.
Now I see the 3 stones. Oh, yes. I thought this was a stone soup and there was no stones in here. So, I mean, how do you call it that? Yes, but anyway, back to the banana. I do believe I have a couple bananas here. Let's get them here.
So, with your monkey paw, you have a whole bunch of bananas here, right?
Let me peel a couple for you, right?
So you have your banana here. Throw some bananas into that soup.
Yes.
So now there were bananas in here, in the soup. Okay, now banana soup is pretty good here. Bananas and waters and stone, but we need a little more depth of flavor here. So, just then, out peered a little tree mouse here.
I do think I have some cheese that I found. Would you like some cheese for this soup here? Let me get some cheese.
So, get very small, because mice are very tiny. You go into your little mouse hole in the tree and bring out some soup. And make sure you give it a nice stir here, either with the wooden spoon or the branch or your trunk. Now what else could we have here? Now out popped a sloth. Big curved nails here. Sloth pops out. Hey, pachyderms. I hear you need some fruit. I'll be right back. Sloth disappeared here. Now 15 minutes went by, they hadn't heard from him here, so another creature popped out, and it was a local tree cat. So be sure to lick your paws here like a cat.
Soup. I might have some milk for you. Some milk that I could pour in the soup for you.
So go in with your little cat paws here, get your saucer of milk and pour it in. And be sure to stir it up here, or with your trunk. The sloth hadn't come back yet here. So another animal stepped up here, the local tree dog. And the tree dog had hidden some bones up in the tree there. Hey, let me dig up some of these bones, boy. He dropped them in. He gave it a stir. The sloth still hadn't come back yet. So another animal stepped up here, and it was a little bee.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I'm the queen bee of the local hive here. I think you're making some soup, so we decided to donate some more honey here. So
a couple honeycombs here. The sloth still hadn't come back here. So local bear popped out here. Local bear. Oh, I heard you were making some soup here. I have some fish I was saving for dinner here. Let me pop in a couple fish. Blop, blop here. And we stirred it up. And just then, Gagan the sloth appeared here with his long nails. Came as fast as I could. You know how I love fruit here. Let me plop some fruit in here. We plopped it in here. We stirred it up. Well, at this point, all of the animals had gathered around the pot. Right? The monkey was here. Ah! Right? The mouse. Right? We had... Now, what other animals did we have for this story? We had... Cassie the bee, right? Was looking on low. Smells good, right. We had the sloth was here, right? Hooked on to the side here with his long nails here, looking in here, right? And they all gathered around. At the beginning of the story, they were afraid to even talk to one another or look at each other, and now they had all gathered around this pot. They all wanted to taste. Right? Even that tree dog and the tree cat here were around here, and they were getting along with each other. Elephant with your trunk. Grab the wooden spoon, have a little taste. Sweet. Tastes sweet. These creatures had looked all around here, and while the soup tasted good, and you know, you can grab with your paw here, sharing a nice meal with friends was even better. So as the elephants walked away, thundering clomps with your feet there, boom, 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 boom. They looked back, and all the animals, instead of being apart and glaring at each other, they had their paws around each other here, and it was a very welcoming forest. And they called back and said, "Oh, just think, it's all from 3 stones." So, are 3 stones really the secret to friendship and, being pals with some of your classmates? And I don't know. Maybe for story 3, we'll get some more clarity on that. Anyway, for story 3, we're going to need to be a frog, and we're going to need to be a toad. Now, sometimes when acting like different creatures, I like to do something that helps me remember that I'm a different character. For instance, for this story, the frog is very energetic and exciting. So for him, if I have a collared shirt on, maybe I'll pop the collar. And that helps me think of it like, oh my goodness, I'm a different character. Or if I have glasses, right? I think, oh, one character doesn't have glasses and one character does. So I think, oh, now I have glasses. Now I can be a different creature, a different character. Anyway, for this story, we're going to need to be a frog. And the frog is very excited, right? He's up, he's hopping all around. And his, I guess you don't call them paws, right? But his frog hands are kind of out in the air, and they're kind of flopping all around here, right? And then we have a toad. And this toad is, he's kind of hunched over a bit, and he doesn't move as fast. So for this story, we will need to be both. And it starts off with the toad. And the toad is sitting out on his porch, and he's just looking, and he feels a bit sad. So what does sadness do to your body? Feel like you don't stand up as straight, your shoulders kind of slump, you're kind of hunched over, and you don't really move very fast if you're sad. And he's just there watching. And we're not sure what he's watching quite yet. And then we need to be the frog. So if you can do something to differentiate yourself here, maybe you put on glasses, or maybe if you have a collared shirt, or if you have a polo, maybe you unbutton one of your buttons here, because now you can be the frog here, and you're up and you're coming out, you're kind of almost dancing down the road here. You're so excited. Oh, it's great being a frog. I love being a frog. Woo! And you come upon Toad here, and you say, Toad, it's a glorious day. Why are you sitting here and you're not dancing around like me here? Now we're the Toad again. Oh, this is my sad time. This is my time to be sad here. And we're the frog, and he said, whoa, why? Why are you so sad here? What are you looking at, by the way, here? You keep looking out at something, huh? And the Toad says, I'm waiting for the mail. I'm looking at the mailbox. So can you imagine that you're looking down at a mailbox here and it's empty? And you're just staring out at it. Say, no one's ever sent me mail. I would love to receive a letter. And the frog goes, wait. No one's ever sent you mail? Never? He couldn't believe it. No, I've never received any mail. So the frog sat there a while, and he kept looking, getting an idea, and thinking, oh, Toad, I have to go. And he hops off here, and he goes home to his frog house here, and he decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit at my frog desk here, and I'm going to write my friend a letter. When he thinks he has his tongue out. So can we see your frog tongue out here? Toad, and if you don't have a pencil, just imagine you have one you're writing here. And if you don't have a piece of paper, just imagine you on your frog hand here, right? Toad, I am glad you are my best friend. Your best friend, frog. And he decided to put it in an envelope here. So pretend that you're putting this into an envelope here, and you're going to make sure you close your envelope, and we have to seal it first, right? We seal it shut. And he was hopping back here. Oh, what a great idea for a friend here. He wrote a letter to my friend Toad. And he was hopping back. And on the way back, oh, it's going to be so exciting. He saw a snail. And he said to the snail, Snail, could you mail this letter to my friend, and can you put it in his mailbox here? And the snail said, right away. So frog here, we're so excited here. So what does it look like when you're excited and you're happy? What does that do to your body? I feel like it makes you sit up straight and stand up straight. Instead of your shoulders being clumped over, they're back, right? You just feel like you have energy when you're happy, especially if you're going to help out a friend. And you're, Toad, where are you? Toad! And he wasn't on the porch. And he went inside, and this Toad was laid up in bed. Hello, Frog, how are you? This is my sad place, and here I am. Hi. Now, it's okay to be sad, right? It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be angry. That's okay. If you need a sad place to go, that's okay, right? And here he was in a sad place, and he was kind of, shoulders were clumped, and he just kind of had a frown. And the frog said, Toad, I think you should check out the mail here. I think something might be coming for you. And the Toad said, No, I never get any mail. And I never will. And that's that. And the frog said, wait a minute, and he's looking out the window. You might see something. You might see something out there. I think we should go out. And Toad was sad again, and no one ever brings me mail, and why do you keep looking out the window? You know I'm right here. Why do you keep looking out there? Are you waiting for something? And the frog said, yes, because guess what? I wrote you a letter. I wrote you one here. Now this frog was not very good at surprises. And he said, I wrote you one. And Toad got a little, what do you mean you wrote me a letter? What did your letter even say here? And make sure it's your Toad, your eyebrows, you get a little suspicious. And what do you mean here? You wrote me one here. What do you mean? I wrote you that what did I write again here? It was, I wrote, Toad, I'm so glad that you are my best friend. Signed, your best friend, Frog. And Toad, actually, when he said this, he perked up. So can you show us, if you were sad and you were a little, not mad, but, a little annoyed, and you were, sit right up. That is a very good letter, friend. And they decided to go out on the porch, and we know how the frog moves. The frog jumps and dances all around here, and the toad kind of crawls a little bit. So they went out to the porch, and they waited for that letter. And they waited for that letter. And they waited. They only waited about 4 days for the snail, but the snail finally got there, and the letter arrived, and he went up to the mailbox, and he got the mail out of there, and he got the letter, and he opened up the letter here, and it said, "A letter to my friend Toad." Toad, I am glad you are my best friend. From your best friend, Frog. And he felt really happy, right? And I want to give you some homework here, friends. Here is my homework to you. How often do we really tell our friends how much they mean to us? Do we really send them notes and letters and postcards? I hope so. And if you do that for your friends, then I'm sure your friends know how much that they really mean to you. But if you don't really send your friends letters, that's your homework. Write a letter, or a postcard, or a note, or even an email, or even a text message. And send this to one of your friends. Telling your friend just